Okay, welcome back, you guys. I can't lift this burden of Scandoval by myself anymore. I need somebody with me this Friday to help me kind of sum up Scandoval in a sense. But we're going to talk about a lot of different things, especially because she was boots on the ground the other night when Jax Taylor was supposed to make his triumphant return to Sir with DJ James Kennedy on his See You Next Tuesday, and she was there. And we'll find out exactly what happened that night. But she was also there at the season finale party that I went to last week, and she's just, you know her, she's everywhere. You can most recently see her on Hulu. They have a whole little documentary episode of, it's called Impact, which is like the story behind Scandoval, which she is heavily featured in. You kind of see her everywhere, and I think she's going to keep popping up more and more places until she has her own television show. But you can always find out everything that is happening in her life at the Talk of Shame on Instagram. So without further ado, Kiki, Monique, welcome back to the show.
Hi, I'm joining you braless because I'm just so exhausted. I can't even be bothered to get properly dressed anymore these days.
I'm braless as well. And screw you, Sandoval, because I literally went from a B cup to a C cup this season, just covering you. Like, it's like, what am I carrying around these days? My God.
Yeah, I think there's like only two type of Vanderpump Rules fans left in the universe. There's those with like Vanderpump derangement syndrome, which is similar to Trump derangement syndrome, where we like blame everything on Sandoval and Raquel instead of Trump. And then there's like Vanderpump fatigue syndrome because we're just so exhausted and we just like are ready to move on. And then it's crazy because it's our favorite show and we're like so excited that the world is finally like clued into how great it is. But we're also just like, please go away before I hate you.
Well, it's when you realize what I imagine, being addicted to drugs or alcohol, it's just like, it was so exciting. And then you're like, I know this is bad for me. It's ruining relationships, friends, families. But at the same time, like I want to get away from it. And I see hopes of a life out there. But then when I get too far away from it, I'm like, I wonder what Scandoval's doing right now,
Or if you see someone posting something that you know just isn't true and you're like, no, I have to correct this because how dare you?
Oh my, always. Thank God you're on. I was yelling about that early because I'm like, come on, guys, let's be smarter than this. Like everybody picked up on the story this week that Tom Schwartz, he's on Mars, on Stars on Mars on Fox. And he did this like, sappy, feel bad for me kind of little talking head where he's like, I'm just done with it all, man. But he meant Scandoval, the scandal. And like, listen, I would love a breakup between the Toms because I think it would be fascinating for the show. But he was literally, if you listen to it, he's talking about that. And everybody, including major news sources, and by that I mean Entertainment Tonight, ran with it. And everybody then just made posts. I'm like, guys, you're not even looking at the source material.
That's the thing. It's like, I like to pick up on those things just to ask questions like, do you really think? And then you go watch it and you're like, okay, that's not what he said at all, you guys. Like, so and also watch the show anyways, because Stars on Mars is so good.
Listen, I'm not going to watch Stars on Mars, but thank you. So no, I watched the first episode, but I watched the first episode and I was like, I just kept thinking all these people are getting paid at least. Like this is like, they're getting money and Schwartz doesn't have money issues anymore. But then I found out, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the second episode, that Tom doesn't know how to count. And by his mistake, he got somebody else potentially kicked off the show.
Yeah, I mean, someone brought up like, come on, you saw Schwartz trying to count those T-shirts at Tom and Tom. I didn't remember that happening, but I was like, look, I know that he's pre-med or he was pre-med. And so like, everyone's like, he's very smart. But look, I've known a lot of book smart people who are just so street dumb. So I'm like, I've always said I'd rather be street smart than book smart.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, but I think also Tom could win Stars on Mars because he's just going to make everybody feel bad for him. And he's so cute and lovable and so funny. And like, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And people are like, oh, he's harmless. Like those are the people that usually win these things because then eventually they potentially twist it and you realize they're smarter than they actually played.
Yeah, I mean, Portia even said on Watch What Happens Live that they called him Angel Tom. So like his charm is working. I mean, he is smart enough and he knows how to work his dopey act to like get people like to really just find him charismatic and, endearing.
It is that thing. It's like his special sauce is really making people feel bad for him. And he's like tuned it so finely now that he can really survive not just a divorce, but Scandoval, because people really do. There was like a week or two where people were really on the fence about Schwartz. And I think he has survived completely, because I see people posting from Schwartz and Sandy's, and they'll be like, yeah, he asked me not to hate him at Schwartz and Sandy's. And he's just so like, he'll literally go up to me and be like, oh, I know you might hate me, but please don't. And how are you going to hate somebody that says that?
Totally. You can't. And so he will totally redeem himself. I fully believe that as well.
Would you hook up with Tom Schwartz?
No, I have no interest. I mean, like, the old me would say yes because he's tall and lanky, and you know what they say about tall, lanky guys. And so, yes, the old me would say yes, but the new me, or not even the new me, screw that. I would screw someone that was like him, but because it's him, no.
The new me. I didn't realize there was a new you. I've really noticed the new you lately. So God, I keep thinking that you said Portia said we called him Angel Tom. That just are you sure she didn't say anal Tom? Like, oh God. Okay, so to get the first part out of the way is that you got a table the other night to go see You Next Tuesday, DJ James Kennedy's triumphant night at Sir, where he DJs and plays the Vanderpump Rules themes and some other songs. And DJ Jax Taylor was supposed to be there, or that was his big guest. And so, of course, like, everybody wanted to be there, because that really is like, wow, like hell is frozen over. Like, this crazy. These two people are actually doing a night together. So take us through that night, because Jax never showed up. Like, what happened?
Yeah. So, we get there. Now let me take back a little bit, because James posted about this like one time on his feed, and like it immediately pops up. And us as content creators, the minute I see that, I immediately go online and book a table, because I'm like, this will be something. We're there for the content. We're there for these moments. So I booked this table for 6, because I figured.
Wait, the old Kiki was there for the music. The new Kiki is there for the content.
So I was like, okay, like, let's book the table. I was like, the show starts at 9, it says. So I was like, let me get the table at like 8:30, we'll sit down, whatever. This was like a few weeks ago, and they weren't promoting it very heavily. So I'm like, okay, we'll get there at 8:30. I start seeing online lines that are wrapped around the corner. Now, the Sir Alley, basically, in order to get to the Sir Alley, you have to go down the block around the corner, and it's like behind the building. That is how far the line is going, which is like, I don't even know how many yards or feet that is, but it is hours and hours.
Well, okay, so we know 100 yards is from the studio to Raquel's trailer. So how many, if we're going by that figure, like, it could have been 3 of those?
I would say it was like 3 Raquel trailers lengths at least. And
I saw a picture. I was like, holy I mean, I really saw that picture, and I'd never seen Sir with a line, because I've been to See You Next Tuesdays before. Like, I remember going to the one right after like COVID was letting up, or the pandemic, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be insane. And it was nothing. You could walk right in.
You walk right in. Exactly. The last time I went in, you walk right in. No, there is a line around the corner, and people are wearing their, worms with a mustache shirt. I see a nun and a Sandoval lookalike, and she's behind him going, shame, shame. Like, no. There is like, what are they character acting? What is it? Cosplay. There's cosplay happening. Like, I didn't see, because by the time I got there, James was already in the booth, but like, he had done like a whole running, over through the audience. So it was shenanigans. So I'm like, I'm rolling up in the Uber, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, how do we get in? But I'm like, I have a table. So I did my thing. I was like, I'm not waiting in this line. I go right to the front, and I'm like, I have a table. And so they're like, they let us right in. Thank God. Cause I was like, there's no way I'm waiting this table, but there's no really table ready. She's like, you kind of have to wait. So we're just kind of standing there. They have a step and repeat. Like, they have made this night like a whole thing, and it is already so thick by the bar. I'm like, I don't even know how we're going to get in. Like, every table is full. So we're standing there for like maybe 10 minutes. And then some guy comes, and he's like, oh, I can seat you right here, but I'm not going to be able to like get you anything from the kitchen, because the kitchen's way too overwhelmed. Now, mind you, I have not eaten anything all day. So I'm like, I guess that's fine. I guess I'll just drink tequila, but I'm like, I might end up like on my face, but like, we'll see what happens. So we kind of like go, and we're sitting by the, the outside, and it is just so thick, you can't even get to the booth. But then finally, like maybe 10 minutes after that, they're like, okay, we can get you a table. So they take us to the table. It's the same table that you and I sat at for the reunion watch party, but we're at the other end. So we're kind of like behind the DJ booth, like in that little hallway. So it was like, okay, we have like a good table or whatever. So we're sitting there.
Well, I noticed they moved the DJ booth. It usually is by the bar. Yeah. They moved it, right?
Yeah, they moved it. So it's like up against the wall on that other side. And so we're like, okay, cool. We get some drinks and we're like chilling. And then I notice there is this, I never noticed there had a private dining room. And so the private dining room is like right behind the DJ booth. So basically the back of the DJ booth is up against this private dining room. And so I'm like, oh, that must be where like all the people are. So we're like, okay, cool. So I'm noticing that. And then like, you know, every once in a while people will go up and like, you know, go through the little hallway, see him. It's just so thick in there, but you know, we can hear the music. We're just like chilling or whatever. Then we hear over the microphone, this is like shortly after we sit down, you know, Jax, there is a family emergency and sorry, but he won't be able to come tonight, you know, sending my well wishes to Jax and Brittany. And that's all we get.
DJ James Kennedy said that.
DJ James Kennedy said that over the mic.
It would have been great if he was like, I got a black wraith. Everyone remember when Jax fucked Faith? Like, it would be great if he then just started railing on Jax again and reigniting that feud.
Oh, also, when we first got there, the way James got onto his set, and maybe he does this every set, I don't know, but he started his set was like, yes, you're here for the white Kanye. Oh my God. So I don't know if he starts every set like that, but like that's how he returned himself. So we're like, okay, there's no Jack. So now, you know, it's DJ James Kennedy. Okay, got it. But then all of a sudden I hear someone go, Sheena's here. And I was like, oh, wait, Sheena's here. And then you start hearing like the Uber Eats, good as gold. But like, I think it was the Uber Eats version. Either way, it's good as gold, right?
Savings, yeah.
So like, I was like, oh, cool. So we get up there and then they're like, oh no, she's on FaceTime. So like, I don't know if it was like, maybe, you know, James had texted Sheena like, hey, Jack is not coming. Maybe you can make an appearance. I don't know, but she like was on FaceTime. So I was like, oh, she just came on FaceTime. And so she did so still fun. But then she did actually show up. So then Sheena and Brock did eventually show up. And then you know, Zachary Reality, you've had him on your show before.
Yeah, totally. He
hops out of the private dining room that I had been like, oh, who's in there? And he had been in there that whole time. And he's like,
Allie,
oh,
right?
Yeah. So he was like, do you want to, you know, I can get you in. So we're like, of course. I mean, always for the content. Let's see what's happening in this private dining room. So then we go back to the private dining room. And yeah, it's pretty much like, you know, James is back there. Well, he's DJing, but like Allie's back there. Sheena and Brock were there. And, you know, I guess it was just
what was the conversation back there? Was there any talk about anything in terms of Vanderpump Rules related?
It was so loud. I literally just like sat there, drank my tequila, was just like watching and just like looking around. I'm just people watching because like I don't know, it can't really have conversations. It's just so loud. And I think that, you know, people were just sort of like taking videos, it felt like the really LA. It was very like a very LA thing that I felt like was happening. And I was kind of like, yeah, I like the beat. No,
did you hear any, like, I noticed like when James does these club appearances now, he does like kind of bits like Sandoval is a liar. Did he do his little bits?
So that song came on and then he said, I'm not able to say that line anymore. So the audience starts singing it, but he says he didn't say. So I don't know if like, is there a cease and desist? Is he not allowed to sing Sandoval's a liar? I don't know.
Dude, come on. As a content creator, you got to find that out. You're in the back room. Why didn't you ask? You could have asked Allie why he's not allowed to say that.
I was a terrible content creator that night. I'll be honest.
That's going to keep me up all night. Well, because in my mind immediately goes to, okay, they're trying to film season 11 and Sandoval's like, dude, you better tell that little pipsqueak to shut the fuck up. Like, I wonder if it's something like that or if he like, what could it be?
I'm assuming it has something to do with that because at this point, Sandoval look, he is making money off of his name just as much. He's not making as much money as like Ariana is, but he is making money off of his appearance and his likeness. And if DJ James Kennedy is out here singing, Sandoval's a liar, I'm sure he's not happy about it. So I'm sure that there was conversations had. I would not surprise me, but I don't know if anyone will ever say it because I'm sure it's wrapped up in some NDA that they can't talk about.
But Sandoval is a liar. Like, I mean, that's not even, you can prove it now. Like, it's been proven. There's not even allegedly, like, we've seen it, like, been proven. Anyways, you also texted me something really fascinating, I think the next day, or yes, I don't even know what day it is, but you would like, the picture was insane of I'd never seen Sir that packed. Like, honestly, in all the years of the show that I've been around, and I've been around here for a lot of those seasons, I have never seen it, not just the line outside, but inside. It looked like a concert, like a really packed concert in a very small space. And you said, I really don't know how they'll potentially do a season 11 because they are now stars where they will get mobbed wherever they film. Everybody kind of knows them at a, their brand recognition is so off the charts. How could they possibly do a season 11? That was kind of your thought, right?
Yeah, because I just don't understand. Like at this point, if they go to film at a dive bar like they have, people will be surrounding them. The cameras won't be able to get an angle where people aren't holding their cameras up looking at them. And that is like, as a viewer, we never want to see that because one, it's just like we lose just any sort of essence of it feeling like fun and like they're going to talk about something real. And two, if they in their head believe they're celebrities, they're going to not behave in the way we want our reality stars. We don't want our reality stars to feel like celebrities. We want them to feel like exactly the reality stars that we want to watch.
Well, see, I totally get your point, but I kind of pushed back on that text, and I think it would be but see, I always think these meta things are a little more fascinating than most people because I would like to see from an honest angle of what this has done to all of these cast members, like all of these brand deals, all of these podcasts. Like, I want to know which one that the success has gotten to, like, is Lala going to come in next season and be like, fuck this, like, is it going to be off the charts insane? And I think that would be kind of an interesting angle of watching success get to people, especially after the initial hysteria of Vanderpump Rules died down, to see what everybody's making money off everybody. So, there will be a scene of Sandoval screaming of like, I did this for you. I fucking bought everybody's houses in here, That's
the thing that's really insane. And it's the thing that people I think are going to have a hard time reckoning with because I think the cast has been very transparent about the fact that after season 9, they were on the chopping block. And if they hadn't made season 10 successful, we were not going to see Vanderpump Rules renewed. Sandoval and Raquel are the reason for this success. And like
Sandoval took that note really seriously.
And so it's like a really hard reckoning because you're just like, well, yeah, they're terrible people, but like you now have all of this success because of what happened. And so I do think it's interesting the egos that would happen to play out because even though Sandoval is making money, he's not making money like the others. And then, yeah, like what comes along with the fact that like, yeah, people are, making all this money off of merch, off of podcasts. Like, is there going to become a point where people are like, I'm tired of you using like maybe my hurt? I don't know. Like, so that would be an interesting thing to watch play out for sure. And also because, I think even Lala said on this podcast, like her and James had a text exchange because people started getting in their comments about like how they didn't like how they were acting at the reunion. And and Lala was shocked. She was like, wait, you don't agree? I thought I was like killing it on there. And I thought we were killing it. I didn't think anyone would not be on our side. So I do think that there is like this little bit of like everything we do is right. And we know we love to see a redemption story, but we also love to watch people fall. So even though these people on, the Ariana, Lala, James side are on top, people are going to like do what they can to knock them off because that's just what people love to do.
Well, I don't know how you feel, but like those first 2 of the 3 reunions, the first 2 with James and Lala was loving it. I just think it got to me eventually on the 3rd one because they both are verbal assassins. They're both funny in their own right. They make excellent points. But by that third one, I was like, okay, now I know Raquel's not really effectively communicating, but I do want to hear between Sandoval, Ariana, and I don't need Lala and James continually hopping in. So, I mean, listen, that was just a small note that I had, just overall the feeling of it, because they kept jumping in and everything they were saying was funny and correct. I just felt they had already had such a shining stars those first 2 episodes, and it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. But also, what have you noticed in terms of, I talked about this last week, and it's really spilled into this week as well, of trying to, not subtly, but like there is like this creeping in of, well, Ariana doesn't deserve all this.
Oh, you've noticed that people are saying that in the comments and stuff?
Yeah, like it's too much now. It's gone too far. She doesn't need all of this. She doesn't need, or even last night I made a Sandoval meme. It was like an easy meme about taking out the trash. Like Daily Mail like set me up really easy. It was like, okay, this is a great. And you got like, I'm done with this. Enough of making up with Sandoval. And first off, never tell me what to do on my own page. Secondly, Oh, interesting. I never thought about that. Also, it's like, who do people just go around thinking that they can school people and they never have like a profile photo on their profile? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, should I block you or should I let you? I don't know what to do. Have you noticed any of that?
I restrict those people so that like they're not blocked and they can only just look at my content but can never respond or comment on it, and so it makes them probably annoyed because they want to say all these things. I usually do that. But to that comment, I did like a Scandoval panel on Andy's Girl with Dame Galley, Emily Baker, and Bravo Bravo Ducking Bravo, and Bravo Bravo Ducking Bravo made the most excellent point of like, this woman was essentially so intertwined with this man in financial, in emotional, obviously ways, but the financial is a big part of it. She deserves every dime she can so that she can break out, whatever she needs to do to break out of the loans that she could be on the hook for Schwartz and Sandy's, to break out of this home so that they can sell it, and so that she can start her new life completely extricated, if that's a word, from this entire relationship. So it's not about like whether she deserves it. Like, this is what she needs to rebuild her entire life so she can completely move on and never have ties to this man. We know that in New York and in LA, people stay in relationships for way too long simply because the rent is too damn high. If we can get this woman propped up for success so that she doesn't have to live in this house with this man for that long, and even if it's like so that she can rent an Airbnb for months while they're trying to sell it, then let's do that.
I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if Ariana is like, you know what? I'm actually kind of happy being roommates. We're pretty good. I'm saving money. It's really nice. No, I was like, that Glamour article that came out last week where she was the cover story on, she mentioned this, and I think it just worth reminding people, is that she like, I don't come from generational wealth. Yeah. Like, I have an opportunity to not worry about money for a long time. And I'd also want my mom to not worry. And I'd also like my brother to not worry. These are like really good hearted things that, and like me and you both have like, if we have an opportunity, we want to take it. Like, come on. Like, am I supposed to turn things down because Tom Sandoval has gotten too little? I don't understand.
It reminds me of how people got so mad at Lady Gaga over this migraine commercial because
Nurtec, my God, like Khloe Kardashian, move over, Lady Gaga. And everybody's like, how dare Lady Gaga have headache medication, And
I'm just like, you guys, like, one day, like it or not, you might see me hawking a vibrator on my Instagram page. It's just how it is, because again, I definitely do not come from generational wealth and it's not going to last forever. I'm not going to be able to be doing this when I'm, maybe I will be able to do this when I'm 80 years old. That would be amazing, but maybe I'm not. But like, let's people earn. If you don't want to, be a part of it, you don't want to buy the product, fine. But like, people have to earn.
I mean, it's really simple. And I feel like Ariana, of all of these people, like, come on. Lala did Send It to Daryl, and like, we keep celebrating that and her buying a place in Palm Springs with that money. And like, I just think it's interesting when people, like, it's like that point you said, and I always say it, like, people, will prop you up, but then they also like to tear you down. And it doesn't just end because the season's over. You see that this will keep going and continually going. So by the time we do see season 11 of Vanderpump Rules, I'll be really curious what the temperature is with the audience, not let alone the cast.
Exactly. And now we'll actually be able to see something about her succeed. I mean, they weren't able to get it open in season 10 because they were still in the like raising funds to try to finish building it out. And now because of this, they have been able to build it out. We've seen, you were able to get in there. Like, it's a full-on restaurant. So it will be open by season 11. And now we can see the girlies flourish with their sandwich shop, which we know now will be packed based on the lines we've seen around Sir.
I mean, you think Sir's packed? That's a tiny place. Imagine the line out that door.
I can't. I was like, I'll go on like a Tuesday at 9 a.m. if it's that's the only way I'll get a sandwich.
I offered to work there. My God. I was like, that's probably the only way. And they're like, we're not looking for you, but like, okay. So, this has been such a taxing season, and I will remind the audience once again that I realize nobody's asked me to do this. I do this with honor and pride, and I'm very happy to cover this, but it has been taxing, but that is something that I choose to do to myself. But I take this really seriously, just like you do. Overall, watching the Scandoval of it all, and I noticed, today on your stories, you just said, hey, I have Scandoval exhaustion. We had the Secrets Revealed episode last night, which, I was excited for, and then I watched it and I was like, I was trying to get that excitement back, and I think I have a couple things, when I do my recap to make fun of, but there is this exhaustion level where we have to realize there's life after this. And what is life after this? Real Housewives of Orange County is on right now. Real Housewives of New Jersey just finished up. Below Deck Med. You've got all of these great shows. It's now up to us to actually find those things and what we find interesting about them. What are you turning to right now?
Well, what's crazy is, like, honestly, the writer strike is actually affecting this more because, the writer's strike is going to go on for a while. And I just don't think people realize the impact it's going to have on scripted television and the amount of bad reality TV that's going to come out of it. So I've actually been trying to focus more on just watching as much good scripted stuff as I can, because I know that I'm going to have months and months and months of reality. And that's all that's going to be served to me on right now. So that's what I've actually been trying to turn to. But then there's also just other reality shows that I hadn't really, even given a look at. I'm really into Peacock. Honestly, has become my favorite streaming right now. It
really
has
good.
Some of the best,
really
scripted and some of the best unscripted. And so I got really into, the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning, which was just like, I didn't expect it to get into that. I want to start that Ultimatum, the queer edition.
Yeah, I started watching that last week and I dug it. And then I was just like, do I get deep into this? Like, you kind of judge it with Scandoval of like, how much Scandoval do I have left? Do I have time to jump into this completely?
Yeah.
You start, so I'm excited. And then I know you had done the Duggar thing, or you were trying to do the Duggar thing.
I have one more episode of that. And then I just finished the Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And so, like, I've been really into the docu-series. And then I am really excited about Sonia and Luann, the Simple Life, the Crappy Lake.
Welcome to Crappy Lake. Yeah.
Because that's going to be the lightheartedness that I need, which is going to feel really good. So I think I'm just trying to lean into like really good writing and just sort of like uplifting sort of stuff after I get through these really traumatic docuseries.
Yeah, I mean, God, the Curious Case of Natalia Grace, guys, I've been talking about it on the show for the last 2 weeks. And I think people are like catching up to all of that, but it's really wild. And it's something very interesting that I bring up, that thing of what makes a good docuseries is you enter thinking like, what is the mystery with this girl, Natalia Grace? How old is she? But then it actually shines a spotlight on how wacky and really dangerous these people that adopted her are. And I think that's like a good docuseries when it kind of flips and you're like, wait, I should actually be paying attention. And this dude reminds me of Tom Sandoval because he loves the camera, but the camera buries him at the same time because you see what a wackadoo he allegedly is. Did you feel the same way?
Oh yeah, he is a total nutcase. And when I remember when I heard about this case long ago, I just remember thinking, and I've still to this day until I watched the docuseries, that there was this woman who came over and pretended to be a girl. And that was what I believed this whole time. And then I had to watch the docuseries. I think it was Clint Eastwood who just said something like, docuseries are like, or documentaries are like the new news. It's the only truth, because people don't care about long form news anymore. They just like, it's a soundbite culture we live in.
Yeah.
And so you hear the soundbite, you run with it, and then you live with that in your head thinking it's the truth. And then it's not even the truth. And then you have to watch a documentary to get to the actual truth. And now we know the truth is these parents were nut jobs and they screwed up this little girl.
Well, and it's going to be continuing because Natalia Grace herself is doing another episode of The Curious Case of Natalia Grace that they already recorded that I
Oh,
think comes out
good.
in August, I believe. So
Okay.
they'll give enough people time to catch up with all of that because this story isn't done. But I thought it was really interesting and well worth your time, but it was very kind of dark but you're right. I can't believe Clint Eastwood said that, but it's very true. I was at the finale party for Vanderpump Rules and I was literally trying to talk to the executive producer, Natalie. I was like, we need a documentary of making season 11. We need a black and white documentary of the conversations happening because that's the thing that gets us curious now, even with Scandoval, is going back and going, okay, this timeline here, what were they trying to capture? I got so tired of people saying that this was all fake. Like, let's see that documentary of the making of these things.
Absolutely. I think that would be amazing because, I mean, this is what we want.
Yeah. What do you think of Orange County this season? We're 2 episodes in after last night.
So the first episode, I was sort of like half watching on my phone because I also think it was the last. I think was that the last reunion night, so I was like half paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, so this episode, I was kind of like, okay, let me get into this, and you know, I'm still on like the fence about where it's gonna go. Like, I the Tamara of it all, I just don't know if she is just she knows too much about how to be a housewife and if it's going to come across as authentic. Because the minute she started screech yelling at Shannon, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, this feels like not authentic. Like, I know what a real Tamara screech scream is supposed to sound like.
Yeah, it's like,
this just feels like a put on.
I was like, kind of like, I hope she doesn't do what Lisa Rinna did last season, which I felt was imitate herself. And when you imitate yourself, you go so hard in the paint that, like, when she was on that boat on the second episode last night, she was screeching on the boat. And Shannon was like, I'm talking very calmly. I don't know what she's doing over there. And it's like, you don't want to have those levels so out of whack, even though Tamara, of course, you're going to do that because you're trying to secure a spot for another season. You already know what it feels like to be unemployed. You do study these shows because you have a podcast with Freddie Mellenchamp. Freddie? Okay. Okay, Teddy. I think she, which, by the way, if you look really closely in Orange County, you can see Teddy swimming in the sea next to the boat. It's like, hey, Tara, the 2 T's on the pod. I'm one of these. But you're right. I kind of think, like, is Tamara going to like ease in or like kind of get her bearings a little bit so she can be effective?
Yeah, because you even notice when she's like doing the screech scream, her eyes dart over. She wants to make sure that the other side hears her, and that's why she elevates it. She's like, I want to make sure I'm on the stage, you guys. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to know that you know what we know, you know, just like, do you?
That's why I kind of actually am I'm enthusiastic right now, tentatively, about Jen, the new girl on OC, because she, you know, like, listen, this girl has like a yoga business. She keeps saying that, like, she was married with this dude. They keep saying, I heard you cheated. I heard you had an affair, because she's now with this dude, Ryan. And the story is not completely clear, but it even seems like her parents begged her to not get divorced to her husband because he's a part of their family business. And it seems wild, but do you know why everybody, like Gina was like, I heard you did cheat. Like, why has everybody heard that she did cheat? Is there like an Orange County newsletter?
Because Orange County is the tiniest place on earth, and all these women have time to do is go and gossip. I mean, I was even laughing at the fact is, like, Orange County is so cookie cutter. We have literally another Jen married to another Ryan. Like, how many seasons of Orange County are we going to get another Jen married to Ryan? Are there 40 million Jen and Ryans in Orange County? But I just think it's like, it's very Stepford Wives in that area. And so I just think that gossip gets around, and so people have been, you know, talking about it. And I'm sure, based on, it seems like her husband was very upset about what had gone down, and so it sounded like he was probably putting her on blast too.
Well, I do want to also correct you. It was Jen and Ryan, R-Y-N-E, Ryan, not another Ryan. Ryan. His name was Ryan, R-Y-N-E, last season. So sorry that Kiki got that wrong. For anybody going to write me about this, it is. But I also, the Jen thing is fascinating too, and I always want to know, people like, oh, I want to know more about her, because then she was, you know, she fostered like pets. She adopted the boy that is it. Like, she has like this full family. Seems like her life is insanely full, and you always love it when you see a picture of somebody from their previous relationship, and I'm like, wait, that's not her. Like, she looks completely different. She got the big watermelon boobs and like, you know, the very OC look, but she didn't look anything like the picture they showed.
Oh yeah, I mean, flashbacks in general on these shows is hilarious because you're just like, yeah, who is that, and who is on my screen right now? Those are not the same people.
Yeah, and then also I missed the Eddie Tamara relationship of it's just constant sexual innuendos without really any kind of feeling. It was like, "What do you want to eat tonight?" You. I'm like, okay, I got it, man. You guys are very sexy. Yeah.
And I'm so confused. Like Eddie really confuses me because the whole dust up with Tamara and Shannon is over. Tamara feeling like Shannon, wasn't a good friend and was too needy. And so, when Tamara's having that conversation with Eddie about like, oh, so you had a talk with her, like the best thing that came out of that, your relationship with Shannon was David. And I'm like, what? You think David Bador is the best thing that came out of her relationship with Shannon? Like, what crack are you on, Eddie?
It really is interesting how men perceive, I mean, women in their lives, but also on this show. I'm like, you can watch the show. Like, you can watch the show, and like, unless they're just not sharing the actual reality of these shows. And the other trope I love on these shows, and we is like Tamara kept like, "You are my best friend, Shannon," and I just don't believe in a world that like that people that just randomly call each other best friends because they were on a show together. I just sometimes like I almost believe Shannon can get like. She'll believe that people are her best friend, but I don't know if I really truly believe that Tamara ever felt that that was her best friend.
No, absolutely not. Especially once she got fired and Shannon continued to be on the show. Like, and she knew that like became her frenemy. And yeah, I just felt like it was she's like saying, you didn't check on me. And Shannon's like, I knew what was happening with your ex. I knew he was going through chemo. She's like, well, yeah, you recommended doctors to me and you checked up on me like twice. But then after that, I'm like, well, I don't know. Like in this adult world, she's also going through her own divorce. She also has 3 children. She also like we check in on each other as adults. But like, if you're her friend, you also know she's going through stuff. I'm confused. Like, is she, you say she's too needy and calls too much. How much is she supposed to call to check on you?
I mean, and also Tamara's best friend is podcasting. They made a thing, they did a quick cut of like 5 different podcasts that she went on to talk about Shannon. And I thought that was just amazing because podcasting now really realistically is a weird feeder system back onto your show. Like it is the feet, even you could say Mr. Jax Taylor has a new podcast and allegedly he is going to be back on our screens in some form. And I find that interesting is that there's a new wrinkle now. It's, that is potentially a way back on, and then they can pull from these audios and throw them into the show.
It's so true because I think I brought that up too because I was like, even with Vanderpump, these other cast members really need to step it up. Like Lala, I don't know what sort of gag order she has talking around, Randall and stuff, but someone was saying at least that she has the podcast where if somebody talks about it on the podcast or if other people talking about on their podcast, like Kristen or whatever, then they can pull that. So it can be included because otherwise I don't know if these people can talk about this stuff.
Dude, that is my dream to be one of the clips that they pull. Like I'm always like, I'm like, will you say something so insane that I get on your show next season? And I'd be like, whoa. I mean, that really like, I want that so badly. And I don't think I'll ever, cause I'm not like usually a gotcha podcast, but I'm like, damn, if I could just get it one time, Yeah. The other thing do you think Heather Dubrow is running a Costco out of her garage?
I don't know what's up with Heather. Heather is, again, I'm trying to like feel my way around how I even feel about what she's doing in this season, like what she's up to. It just doesn't feel like the Heather that I knew from old seasons. So I just don't even know how to feel about her.
Well, I just also, last night we get this scene of her literally doing everything for her children in terms of prepping them for college. And she's got like this, space of just everything. I mean, just so much stuff that I'll never have in my life of just their college experience. And my college experience was far from my mom. I mean, I think, Gina says, like, I think I went to a Bed Bath & Beyond or like a Walmart with my mom and we got what I needed for ASU, but it was nowhere near that. And I was like, aren't you taking away from I had this conversation with myself. I was like, your kids seem smart. Like, so are you doing this because you think it frees up their brain to then go learn important things? Like, I was trying to why are you taking this experience from them in a sense? I kept thinking that.
I just think they kind of want to be coddled and they don't want to leave the luxury that they have in Orange County. They want that to exist in their new college world. And so I think they're fine with it, sadly, because I mean, you are missing out on the college experience. Like, you need to be making noodles in your hot pot, not like what did she have? She had like a microwave combination fridge microwave or something. A fridge that turns into a microwave. What?
She has a transformer in these fucking kids' colleges. And like, I do that ramen experience of like, that was the first time I had those ramen things. And I had a really shitty microwave on top of this little tiny fridge. And it would like, I just remember that of just keep doing the ramen of just like the hot water you get from your shitty sink. And it was like, I mean, I'm not romanticizing it. It was horrible, but at the same time, it was mine, you know?
Yeah. And it was like, it's what taught me that I could like survive. Like, I've had to reinvent myself so many times in this industry. Entertainment is like it's a brutal industry. I've reinvented myself so many times. And what I do know is like every once in a while I can survive on ramen because I did it when I was 17 and I can do it all over again.
Ramen's great. It'll just kill you with that sodium as you get older. Like, I mean, ramen is delicious and you would like find like new things to do with it. And you'd be like, oh, can I put Dr. Pepper in this? Like, it was like just really experimentation. Most people experimented sexually in college. I was like, how much weird food can I eat?
If TikTok had existed in college, the ramen trials that I would have been on then, I would have been a star.
Gina and Emily in OC, they're another, like, they're interesting, like, kind of like not sidekicks, but it's like, you know, they fill out the team. I don't know. I always try to like think like I like Emily. I always try to think like how I feel about them because I'm trying to like utility players. Like, how would you describe Gina and Emily? Because they've been on so many seasons now.
I think that Gina and Emily are trying to be the new Lucy and Ethel. I think that Housewives really romanticize this Lucy and Ethel sort of combo. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, in this scenario, I would say that Emily would be the Ethel, but like she's trying to play a little bit into this, like, oh, you know, even with her tagline, like, give me a taco and all of these things, but she's snatched as hell. She looks amazing. Like, I don't know. It's just like kind of like, I mean, it doesn't play as well because I'm like, I know you're trying to be like funny, quote, fat girl, but like, you're not. Like, you look freaking amazing, like killer body. But like, I think that's sort of what they're trying to be, is like the funny duo that everyone sort of like, you know, relies on or talks to, or they can be the voice of reason, but then they can talk to each other and talk shade behind everyone's back, but no one gets mad at them. I think that's just kind of how they're trying to be.
You're right about that Emily tagline. Like, you eat one sandwich in a sauna, or not. That's not even. Yeah, Emily ate the sandwich in the sauna, and she's always like. But it's like now, it's like, come on, you guys. Like, you're gonna do another food thing. It's like, it literally is like, you know, like I may be this, but I'm literally killing myself because I can't stop eating. Help me! Like, it's like, what? I don't understand. It's a parody of itself.
It is. I'm just like, come on. Like, we can see you. You realize we can see you, and you're on TV. Like,
did you dip into Jersey at all this season, or was that like a?
So I had tried to start. It was like I was over it with Teresa and Melissa, but the reunions were fire, and I was all up in them. And so yeah, I pretty much got back into it, and so started watching episodes back from that to lead back up to the reunion. But I think the reunions gave me all the life I needed to.
I mean, I said that all season, like Melissa and Teresa, I was so tired of it, yet I watched every episode, but still so tired of it. But I don't think it's ever going to change. Obviously, the relationship's not going to change, but obviously the ratings are higher than they've ever been. So, you know, obviously people are tuning in, but this is the other conversation I was having with myself today. I was really trying to like understand, because the toxicity of the Jersey fan base on Twitter especially is very scary. Yes. And I always say that joking wise, but it actually is scary to me. And like, I like elements of both Melissa and Teresa. And I also think both of them have really horrible qualities and traits, or horrible traits. But the Louis of it all, like, can't we all agree that regardless of why he's doing it, he comes off completely creepy and unhinged?
That's what I don't understand, because I agree with you 100%. I think that's also another reason I backed away, is because, yeah, the toxicity of the Jersey fandom is so scary that I don't even want to give my opinion, because people will start doxing you. They'll
Oh
just
yeah.
start like God forbid you have an opinion on Teresa and or Melissa, and the next thing you know, your address is online.
Yeah. They'll be like, you're fucking ugly. And I'm like, what does that have to do with Teresa or Melissa?
Someone came after Kristen Chenoweth. Kristen Chenoweth is the nicest person on earth. And all she did was say, like, Team Gorga. And they were like, you've always been on the wrong side of history, Kristen. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You sucked in Wicked. You sucked in Wicked. Yeah.
But yeah, like I thought for sure after Vicky and Brooks that we could all spot the red flag of a Brooks 2.0 immediately. And the fact that like there's people that defend him is wild to me.
Well, see, and I hate to draw the larger point that you draw earlier, is like, that's the society we live in. It's like, you can see something, we're all watching it with our eyes. Like, everybody sees what we see, and like, come on, man, it might not be next year or the year after, but someday that is going to completely be horribly disastrous and dangerous. And in fact, Bravo is probably investing in it, hoping they will get a Scandoval with Jersey down the line. But it makes you sad, because I'm like, well, I genuinely want Teresa to be happy. It's not a joke, but like this guy, like the boat. I don't think you watched but like before the reunion, he was bragging to the ladies about calling Bo Dietl, this New York private investigator, has files on everybody, brings it up at a party again, and then says, no, actually, that's not true. That was not true at all. Da-da-da. I'm like, guys, you said it out of your own mouth. How are you going to defend the dude that said it in two separate scenes? And then he comes on and he starts saying things like, let's play.
Yeah.
Like, I win. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
No matter why you're doing it, you have to realize you're coming off insanely creepy once again, because this isn't a first time offense for Louis. So even that's what's frustrating, is like, even if you think, like, let me know the reasons why you're being this creepy and realize that we think you're creepy. So maybe like dial it back, or let us know specifically why you're acting this way.
Yeah. And it's like, I love Dolores, and like, I get why she didn't want to bring up her son's name in regards to Louis, because look, if she does believe in the back of her head that there's something scandalous, she doesn't want her son's name attached to it. So I get why she was trying to shut down the conversation, but I do kind of wish she had let Frank go on about it. But then again, it would have drawn their son into it, and she just didn't want that part. So I get it. But like, I just felt like, Dolores, like, this is your friend. I hope that you're at least saying something behind closed doors of like your concerns, because if you're her friend, you should.
Yeah. And also, two things can be true at once. Like, in terms of Joey Gorga, yeah, I believe he's probably really fucked over certain people in his contracting world and all of these things, but that has nothing to do with the question I'm asking people. Do you see that Louis is completely insane? Like, I mean, like, it's two separate things, and both can be true. It's not like one wins and like there's one crook here and the other one's, it's not like that. So that's what's frustrating. It's like, you guys, you Teresa lovers, can't you see what we see? Like, there is something way off. This guy is threatening so much. And even Andy like pleading with Louis, but like, hey, I just don't want anything to get physical out there. I'm like, even Andy was like coming up to Louis, and I mean, being way too nice for like as many threats that was like thrown under his breath in that reunion.
Yeah, it's almost like, at this point, Teresa won't be happy until some information is dug out so that like her brother can go to jail, so that she can feel like they're even or something. Because I'm just like, if my new husband was saying threatening things to my brother, I would be like, are you kidding me? Like, stop it. Like, I don't care how much of a fight we're in. You're not going to try to like dig up information to send my brother to prison.
I watched season 3, the christening episode again this weekend to unwind, and it was 2000 to 2011 that was shot. And Joey Gorga says in it, me and my sister haven't gotten along for 10 years now. And I'm like, that was 2011. We are in 2023 right now. I'm trying to like think, like, was there only like a 6-month period where they were best friends? Because I've never seen what has been so attractive in this brother-sister relationship. Because I'm like, I'm ready to call it a day. Like, and they always, like, both of them, not just Joey, it'd be like, you broke my heart into a billion pieces. It's always breaking. It's always so like, you've made my heart explode 1,000. Like, they're always talking about their hearts, both of them, and how like fucked their hearts are.
And you would think that, because Teresa is friends with Dina, and Dina and Caroline, the Manzos, they haven't had a relationship in forever. And you would almost think that, Dina would say to Teresa, look, even though they're family, sometimes you cut people out. And she would just say, like, just stop it. Just cut it out. Stop trying to make it work. and just give her that advice, because yeah, it's been 20 something years, and even Joey was like, we had the best time when she got out of prison. She was so humble. So that was the 6 month moment when they had a good relationship, was when she got out of prison and she had, she was humble.
I'm really scared to see where this goes, and I think there is fault on both sides, but I mean, just Louis himself really scares me on television, and I don't even think that's just a bad edit, you guys. Like, and I would think if he was cognizant of it, because if you are a content creator, we've been talking about Louis for years now. And this isn't the first, like, it's not like the show has made him creepy. I've now seen multiple videos of this man saying insane, weird things, like on the beach with all those men of like, I want you to come back with me and I want to marry you if that's okay with you. Like, remember they like all shirtless with all those guys looking like Mad Max. And he's like we've seen Louis be multiple times be insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I just wish everyone would agree that, there's red flags there. And whether you like Teresa or not, like, let's all get on the same page about that.
Yeah. I mean, can we just agree on one damn thing? Like, it's like, I just need something to be like right and something to be wrong. There can be shades of gray, but like, we can all say Sandoval, bad that he cheated and lied, really horrible shit. And as we wind down here, I wanted to end with the Secrets Revealed episode, which we kind of briefly had mentioned. But it once again, each week they find new ways to make them look just as bad, if not worse. And what was that takeaway for you last night in terms of anything new regarding Tom and Raquel themselves?
I felt like it was just another reconfirmation of everything that we had already known. And we're just looking at it through this lens. We're getting cringy about it because we're like, how dare Raquel show up with flowers for Ariana after she just was in the, jacuzzi. And then we now know in the bedroom, banging her man, right? How, dare she say these certain things. How dare he sit there and look at Ariana while they're roller skating and she's over here defending Raquel and he's like giving the eye about like, they're saying that, don't trust around your man. And he's all like, those women, it's just reconfirmation and it's ripping a Band-Aid off of like a wound that we kind of just like this point, like want to heal a little bit for ourselves. But like, I did like that we got to see the storylines that got buried because of this, like, it starts off with Lisa saying, Ariana and Sandoval are living together, but Katie and Schwartz were the first. They were still living together after they got separated. And it was like so nice to hear Katie say, like, I appreciate this not being a cold turkey divorce and that, we're able to sort of just slowly separate because they've been together for years and years. It's like letting just someone gone. It's like a death. So like, instead of it just being like a death, it's like a slow removal. So that was nice to hear. We got to hear more about Lisa's horse accident, which was like really bad. And so like her and Ariana had that nice moment. I liked seeing more of Charlie. I really did. And I know that like, Lala is pissed at her from the things she's saying. But like Charlie is what to me is like really good reality. She is no holds bar. She's saying whatever's on her mind. And it's even with her friends. When she was mad at Raquel, even though Raquel was her friend, she wasn't, sugar coating it. She was like, no, you did wrong.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
bad. That's bad.
Yeah. I want to see more of Charlie. I saw that, she did get an offer for season 11, but she's still mulling it over, but I hope she comes back.
Yeah, she did a Rolling Stone interview, which by the way, I keep talking to the audience. I'm like, what happened to Rolling Stone, man? All of a sudden they got like a reality show department. Like, it is like wild, but I'm here for it. But they did an interview with Charlie where she said she got offered for a series regular on Vanderpump Rules, but she doesn't know if she wants to do it. And her reasoning was so clear. She was like, listen, they're going to probably want me to film with Raquel because those are who my scenes with. And I love Ariana. I do not agree with all of this stuff. So there's that. Plus, she said, they're most likely going to have old cast members come back and they're probably going to really go ham because they want to secure their spot. So I think she was referencing Jax and they didn't have a great relationship, her first season. And so she's like, I don't know if I really want to sign up for that. And I DM'd with Charlie earlier once I had read that. And she's like, yeah, I don't really know. Like, because I was like, you got to. And she was like, I know, but I don't. And the one thing, like when I had her on the show years ago, one thing that impressed me was that like she really is real. Like if she doesn't feel it, she's like, even like we saw her last night working at her other job. She wouldn't show up to film this past season sometimes because she was like, I make more money doing bottle service at that other place that they showed. She's like, I make more money, period. So I like somebody that's like, I want those kind of people that don't necessarily want to be there because they're always going to tell you the truth.
Exactly. That's why I want her there. Because she's like not trying to be in front of the camera. And like literally every person that she's friends with, like she's had no problem just being like, nope, you wrong. Nope, you wrong. Like I love it.
And she's been right. She's been right. She's not like, and even she said, listen, once I found out the situation with Raquel, of course I regret the Vegas, the Galaxy Lighter picking her up in Havasu or whatever that was. Of course I've rethought everything that I said because I didn't have that information at the time. And that's the kind of clear, level-headed thinking that I want, but we're not used to seeing with Vanderpump Rules or reality shows in general.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So then we also see Schwartz dating, which, he was managed to not keep his hands out of his mouth, but he was doing this like hypothetical. What would you do? Which, by the way, did that girl not look like 18 years old? She looked insanely young. And
she was probably in her very early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause at first they ordered drinks and she ordered water. And I was like, yeah, cause she's not 21 yet. She can't even get a drink. Like, it's like, but it was a charming, funny scene. The thing that, you keep saying ripping that Band-Aid off. I just keep thinking about that Sandoval and that scene in their house when Charlie and Raquel are sitting across from them. And he's like, just looking at Raquel, like lovey-dovey. And I was just trying to think of like, what was this man? Was he just so enthused by her that he was forgetting who he was right next to? I was like, because I don't want to think that people are just flat out evil, but like what was going through his head? Just acting like nothing.
I mean, I don't know, but I do know that like people can disassociate. Like people can just say like, I'm having this moment with this person in this world and I'm enjoying it because it's our secret and I love it. And I can still live in my regular world because like it is what it is. Like, and I don't know if that's sociopathic behavior. Maybe it is. I'm not a doctor. Or just the fact that we live in a society where we push disassociation. We are trying to put a VR headset in every household around the world. We love disassociation. So it's not surprising that people can live double, triple, quadruple lives these days very easily.
I love that, actually. Yeah. I mean, that's disassociation is one of our greatest exports, like that's something that America does so well. We have so much to disassociate with. I think that's just the thing, though, when you're wanting to look deeper and then look at your own lives and go like, oh, why do I do this behavior? Or why does this? I mean, you always try to look deeper. And this is the one thing that's puzzled me, like, forget Sandoval, but the Raquel of it all. Like, I mean, listen, if she really cares about her mental health, I don't think she should come back. But I will always wonder what truly was going on, like what truly was happening.
I know. And I don't think we'll ever know unless she comes back. And even then, I don't know how much she'd be willing to reveal because I think the healing process is going to be a long while for her. Like she's now in, I don't know whatever stage she's in now, but like to come to terms with who you are is very hard. And also just to be like, to separate yourself from the world you were living in. Because someone made a really good point of like, this was the culture that she was introduced to. Like this was the culture she just understood. And we know how easily it is to mold her brain. Because look, that's also why she ends up in these situations. So I don't know. It'll be a long healing process for her.
And for us as well, which will actually start after this week. Then finally, Raquel, in those last couple of minutes of the finale of the reunion, she revealed the big thing of like Sandoval and her were talking, kind of seeing how this would play. And I was thinking back to when I talked to Sandoval on the podcast, 2 years ago or a year, however long ago it was. And he mentioned this moment that I just thought about today where he said, when him and Chris and Dodie originally broke up, they were already broken up, but they had to appear on Watch What Happens Live together. And for the sake of that show, they acted like they were not broken up yet because it hadn't been revealed. And then hearing those stories back with what Ariana has said about him initially, he's saying like, oh, we don't have to let people know yet. And then seeing how he did talk to Raquel, it does really seem to be this pattern of him trying to not like force what he thinks the narrative should be. And I find that interesting that the girls a lot of the time go with it. Ariana thankfully immediately texted everybody and said, this is what happened, because he was like, no. We got brand deals in place. Maybe don't reveal yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that like he's lived in this world long enough. And look, I think even Ariana to an extent to this world knew that like they were a brand together. I think the reason she got shook out of it was because while she was probably willing to like put up with him a bit longer, or, she was probably fed up with him for other reasons. She probably still wanted to stay with him, but she probably was, she was aware there was issues in a relationship, which is why she was trying harder with different things. Right. But she also did see them as this package deal. But once he went so outside the bounds and it was it was just broken, she was like, oh, fuck this shit. Like, this is not the kind of like, I'm going to hold this together for brand deals. No, screw this. Like, I'll do a lot of shit for brand deals, but not this.
I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. No, that's what it's amazing to be a brand as a couple, but it's really nice to be a brand by yourself, and be in control of your own destiny. And that's scary, but exciting. And I was thinking of Sandoval potentially thinking of everything in his life as brands, because he had him and Ariana, then he had him and Tom, the Toms, and he really loved that. Like, cause he would, his manager was getting them like Atlantic City things, all of these things, if they show up as the Toms, and then he has the brand that is his band. So it'll be interesting. I wonder really what Tom thinks of in his life as just real, of just non-money making real, because he's even complained about people like us going and making memes and doing, like, he pays such close attention that I wonder like if he is actually getting help and thinking about the reality of this situation away from reality TV, because TMZ was on today and he was once again, like, he just seems mad about the whole thing and not sorry, just mad.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I think that this is who he is. I don't think he's going to change. And I think we unfortunately live in a society where he can still be rewarded for it. And so he knows he doesn't have to. And there's also going to be plenty of women lining up to be with him, because that's also the side we live in. So he has no motivation to change, unfortunately, unless he wants to do it for himself, which he's probably very pleased with himself.
I know. I mean, that's the only thing it'll probably upset me, but I'll be curious to see his attitude on those first episodes, and also the tactics, because we saw him immediately cry on the first episode, and like James, like, fuck that, man, crocodile tears, stop. Like, I'm curious if he'll come in angry, if he'll try the apologetic tone one more time and see if it plays. Like, I'm really curious, because he has not been on the defensive, since Miami Girl on this show.
I don't think he's going to come in with the apologetic tone, because I think when Lisa took him backstage and tried to get him to be apologetic, and he came out and immediately Ariana shut it down. Like, these people are not your friends anymore. You're done. There's no relationship here. It just really got to him in a place because he had no control over anything anymore. And I think that just was like, it was it for him. And so I think he's done with the apologetic route. He's going to lean into this villain side and, also slightly victim side. And that's who he's going to be.
I guess we will find out. And we now have other TV shows to talk about. And by the way, if you don't follow Kiki, I know you already all do, but like, listen, she talks about everything, every news story out there. She's up at fucking like the butt crack of dawn, like posting and like news things. And it's always like a great place to stop to actually keep yourself informed, not just about reality TV, but about the world at large, because there is a world at large and some insane things are happening. Is there anything that you have your eye on right now, news story wise?
Well, I'm going to be doing my first TikTok live. I work with Daily Mail, and so I'm doing my first TikTok live today.
I love Daily Mail.
At noon, and so hopefully that'll be a regularly occurring thing where we're gonna just kiki about the like top pop culture news stories that are happening.
can you tell the Daily Mail? I talked about this. It's like, can you, the spell checker? Like sometimes I'll be reading and I'll be like so invested. I'll be like, look at me learning about things. And then you'll catch like 3 spell check errors in a row. And you'll be like, wait a sec, I shouldn't be smart enough to like know that this is even a spelling error. And it'll be not even on their entertainment page, their home page, because they're trying to get these articles out so quick. My only complaint, other than that, it is literally my one stop for news, period.
Yeah, I mean, I the speed, I will say, like the speed at which people are pumping out information over there is extraordinary. So like I now understand why like maybe an error slips through. I stick to the TikTok side where we can be a little less formal.
Oh, wait, have you gotten any dirt on the Roni legacy girls trip thing?
So my friend lives in St. Bart's. So she literally has been like at places. And so I'm like, can you, so she sent a little video of Ramona because they had to shut down this whole restaurant. And that was the same restaurant they did that little, like their first TikTok where they were like dancing to the camera. So she's been sending me videos. I'm not going to reveal anything because she is trying to like be a little spy for me and get into places and get me some information. And then someone else sent me, some video yesterday and from the DR, the Potomac ladies are in Dominican Republic right now. So that there was some video of them together that they sent me. I hadn't posted it yet, but
wow. Well, I got really confused because Sonia started posting on her Instagram back in New York all of a sudden, which has to be a mistake unless she left.
She went into the comment section and clarified it and said that she's still in St. Bart's. So, because everybody's like, what are you doing back in New York? And she was like, no. I was saying like back in New York in my mouth. She's like, I'm still in St. Bart's. So she clarified it. Yeah.
Way to go, social media manager, whoever you are for Sonia. That's crazy.
Fired intern. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, TikTok today, go there and you can join a live with Kiki Monique representing the prestigious The Daily Mail, my paper of note that I read online every morning, noon, and night. The Talk of Shame, at The Talk of Shame. Of course, you need to follow her there. And I really think, I mean, God, I know insane things are happening for you, so we will keep you posted on this show as things happen for Kiki. And anything else that we need to know about?
That's just it. That's all I got.
You did it. Congratulations. We got through the most intense season of Vanderpump Rules, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you.
Well, we did it together.
Oh, wait. Well, Jax. There was no more mention of Jax that night.
There was no more mention of Jax, and I even tried to go to his page, and he never even gave an explainer. And so I don't know. I really want to know, like, was there an issue? Like, what was the issue? Does he not have him and James? Are they still good? I don't know.
Well, so on Twitter, he did. I'm blocked by him, but on Twitter, on Instagram, I'm not. But he said something of like, guys, it's okay. It was a minor family emergency, all taken care of now. I'll get you on the next time, I think it said. But I'm curious if it's like, but with Jax though, you just never know if it's a lie. Like that's the sad thing. You just never know.
Well, that was the thing that was crazy because obviously I've been following his stories earlier in that day and he had been working out. I mean, like a hardcore workout. Like it was like he was doing all the things, like everything looked fine. So obviously it wasn't like, didn't seem like it was with him. So I didn't know if it was with his kid, if it was with someone on the family. I don't know.
What if he got nervous? What if he just got really like, I'm scared to go? Or what if Lisa wouldn't let him go because he was on the toast, like talking like kind of some smack about Lisa?
I thought it maybe might have to do with that because I did see he was talking smack about Lisa a little bit. So I thought maybe that was the issue.
Was Lisa there?
No.
Dude, she wasn't at the finale thing either. Okay, well, anyways, I could talk to you forever, but I'm sure you'll be on in a couple months again. So you guys go follow her, go join that TikTok live, and we will talk to you next time. Bye, Kiki.
Bye.